You guys ready for the range?
Yeah, but we gotta do something about James's belt.
Is that airsoft?
Maybe.
Our instructors deserve better. I'm Mike with Aegis Defense Solutions. We have a new battle belt for you. Our instructor and cameraman, James, needed a new belt, so we reached out to Kore Essentials after being super impressed with their EDC belts. In fact, I'm wearing the one they sent us last time right here. That, heck, they just sent us one. So let's do an unboxing and take a look on the inside of this. Now, we were really impressed with their EDC belt in the multicam black, but this time we decided to go generic as possible with just multicam. Yes, we're going to be really, really basic today. But what do we get in the box? First off, we get their rigid inner belt, which will have to be sized, of course. Velcro hook and loop. It's fantastic. So that will be his new inner belt, which, as you can see, very rigid, which is fantastic. That's what we want. We want that rigidity so that belt will stay put when it's on the body, no matter what positions he's in. We have the B1 buckle. And what they're doing with their belts on their battle belts is what they're doing with their EDC belts. This is a ratchet system. So the inner belt will go through the normal belt loop. So this is a 1.75 inch belt. And then this will actually attach to the battle belt itself. Here's the battle belt, and you can see the hook and loop. But the big thing is their ratchet system that Kore Essentials puts into it. And at first I thought maybe, you know, it's made out of a rigid plastic, that it would be weak and then maybe we'd have issues with it. But we've been running their EDC belt, doing training classes with it, teaching concealed carry and pistol classes. And I'll be honest, I have had zero issues with the ratchet system on their belts. Now, sizing for their system is very similar to our last video we did with their EDC belt. Essentially, we're just gonna measure out to where your belt size is and then cut it. We're gonna find the ratchet side, which is down here, and they have provided this handy dandy measuring tape. We're going to line that up with the very tip. Now keep in mind, you void your warranty if you mess this up, and in addition, they highly recommend you only use this measuring tape that they have with it. But we're going to stretch the entire thing out, and you can see here's a 28-inch belt line, and as we stretch that down, comes all the way across all the way to a 48-inch. And what we'll do is that we're going to cut it at the mark of where our belt size is. So, and they even give you, the instructions are right on here. It's very hard it's really very hard to screw this up. But if you have a 36-inch waist, I have a 32, so I would have been down here, but they're saying for their instructions example, 36 inches. This is where you're going to cut through that, get a nice heavy-duty pair of scissors, and then you'll actually attach on their belt buckle on the end of that. Now, for the inner belt, you're going to cut it 1 inch shorter, so you're going to drop from 36 to 35. For me, on my belt size, I would drop from a 32 and cut the inner belt at 31. Well, are you excited to try this thing out, man?
Oh, I'm stoked for it.
I know. We're done with airsoft belts now.
Thank God.
So LARPing days are over. Let's go take this to the range, though, and actually go have some fun with it and go put it through a few paces. All right, here we are at the Modern Sportsman, and we have our belts, and we're gonna go take those out to the range and throw a few paces through them. But real quick, so we have two belts that we're gonna compare. We have the belt that Kore Essentials sent us, the B1 Battlebelt, and then we also have mine, which is a Blue Alpha Gear battle belt. All right, James, so what did we throw on this battle belt right now? You know, it looks pretty simple just for, you know, range uses. It's gonna be perfect for instruction. What do we got?
Yeah, so I got the S-Tac mag pouches, the 1 rifle, 2 pistol, all put together into one. I have just a cheap IFAC pouch. It's kind of nice. It's just a rip away. And then I have a T-Rex Arms passive retention holster with a Safariland QLS system.
And it looks like you have it set for a mid-ride, and that you also have a T-Rex Arms thigh strap on that too. And very similar to my setup, we have the Blue Alpha Gear with our S-Tac mag pouches too. I really like S-Tac. I've used them on play carriers. I've used them on belts before, and I just go back to them. I really like them. We have a T-Rex Arms med pouch as well, with tourniquet in the back and just all your, ouch, I've been shot accoutrements on the inside. And then we do have a Safariland holster with my Shadow in there, with the mid-ride from Safariland, a QLS fork, and a T-Rex Arms thigh strap as well too, and just a Scallywag tactical knife sitting on the back of it. So the first thing you're going to notice, now my belt is pretty worn in. James, I mean yours, this is the new one from Kore, and this is a pretty rigid system. You can already see it's maintaining that rigidity really well. Now this is not broken in. I suspect that, over time we will get a difference on those, and it will break in with that. All right, let's go ahead and lay down and look at the setup that Kore Essentials has. So here's that B1 buckle. We opted for that for James just because it looks stylish. It's definitely better than their basic one. But we do have Molly straps on the outside sewn into that, which was easy to feed WTF straps through. And then coming all the way to the end, we do have the ratchet system on the inside. My prediction is that it's a really rigid system, and it maintains its position on your belt really, really well. All right, let's look at these buckles side by side. Here's a Kore Essentials, which is just that ratchet with lever. I don't think that's going to be as durable long-term as, say, a Cobra buckle. And certainly, you're not going to get any kind of weight retention with this as far as doing anything involving air assault. This is a fantastic garrison, range, and duty battle belt. But if you're doing anything where you've got to jump out of a bird, you're rappelling, that is not going to be the system that you're going to want to use. You're going to want to use something that's going to be a little beefier, something that's got a Cobra buckle setup. Now, one of the big reasons why this is going to be a much better belt for, say, duty carry, and this would be good for police officers or for range use, definitely, hands down. But it's not going to have that air assault capability. You look at something like the Blue Alpha Gear, that Cobra buckle is sewn in. Now, the Kore Essentials is a little bit different. James?
So the Kore Essentials, how it's put together is you take the belt, you stick it into the buckle, and this little lever here has teeth, which shoves the belt further into the buckle, and then you take the Allen key screws and just screw it in. I don't know how durable this will be, especially if you put a lot of weight. So far, Mike's and my testing have gone fantastic with how well it's able to carry a lot of weight.
Yeah, it does really well. I mean, we were able to drag me across the floor with it, and I mean, this is a really good setup too. It's a fantastic belt, but it's mission-driven tools ultimately. So whatever you're doing, you're going to want different pieces and parts. Like I said, if you're air assaulting, you're going to want something a little beefier, something that's weight tested for those lines that you're going to be utilizing doing rappelling. But if you're just duty garrison on the range, you can't beat something like this. This is a really rigid, very fantastic belt with really good weight retention. All right, so I threw on James's belt right now, so the Kore Essentials, the B1 Battlebelt, and I will say off the bat, it is a little bit lighter than the Blue Alpha Gear Battle Belt. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot lighter and really, really rigid. But again, you're trading some stuff off based on whatever your mission needs are. This is not going to be a good belt for air assault, for doing anything where you got to do line or rappelling. But this is going to be really, really good for extended use, long periods of time. So, police officers, duty garrison belts, something like military police. This is going to be a fantastic belt. EOD guys, I'm an EOD guy myself. A belt like this for just range work, going to and from the range, carrying explosives to do demolitions. This is going to be a really, really good belt for that. It's going to maintain that weight really well, and it's not going to put a lot of extra weight on you also. So you are shaving a few ounces off of that. And over a long period of time, that does start to add up. All right, so the Kore Essentials B1 Battlebelt, what are your final thoughts on this?
Final thoughts, really rigid, really light, and it holds everything really close to my body, nice and stiff.
Yeah, he does like things stiff. So, I'm really impressed with Kore Essentials. Big thanks and shout out to them again for actually sending us this belt to review and put it through a few paces. So this is going to go through a few classes that James is going to be participating in. So we're really excited to see how it starts to hold up over time compared to other belts that are out there. But, ultimately, I think this is a pretty good product. It's probably worth your money, definitely worth looking at. So, hey, this is Mike and James and Jay with Aegis Defense Solutions. Thanks for sticking around tonight, and stay prepared, not scared. God bless and good night, everybody.
Why haven't you followed our other socials yet? We're literally on everything, bro. Subscribe. Wow. Okay, fuck.